What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, co-promoter, Queensberry Promotions, CEO and founder, Frank Warren, who's over in the UK, United Kingdom, who is the co-promoter to undefeated two-time heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Tyson Fury is also co-promoted by legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO Bob Arum here in the States. Across the pond in the UK, Frank Warren is Tyson Fury's promoter over there. Frank Warren recently now came out and stated, after so many interviews and after months of trying to wiggle out the highly anticipated trilogy match with former Olympic bronze medalist, former reigning WBC heavyweight world champion, American superstar boxer Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, which was originally set to take place in July. Deontay Wilder immediately informed Tyson Fury's team, and everybody else involved that he wanted the trilogy match following his stoppage loss to Tyson Fury in what was their highly anticipated rematch from the first fight that took place that ended in a draw. And so Deontay Wilder, you have a short window. They had the rematch clause in the contract for the trilogy match. You have a short window of time before you let it be known that you are going to indeed activate the rematch clause and go ahead and pursue the trilogy match immediately, thus holding Tyson Fury accountable to have to then face Deontay Wilder in the trilogy match before making any other moves or looking to put the carriage before the horse, as he did with fellow countrymen, two-time unified heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer Anthony Joshua, who happens to be the direct rival of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, may I add. But they came and struck a two-fight deal for 2021 to take place where they'll see each other have an undisputed showdown on UK soil. This coming on the heels of Tyson Fury having a fresh new investigation launched by UNDISPUTED after farmer Martin Carefoot came out and stated that Tyson Fury, had committed some false statements, and he stated that he provided Tyson Fury with wild boar meat, thus the reason why Tyson Fury, tested positive and immediately following his fight and showdown with Vladimir Klitschko, and his cousin Huey Fury also tested. But that's neither here nor there, right? So UNDISPUTED launched a fresh new investigation, and then Tyson Fury denounced his boxing license. And we know this story, right? Said he was only going to fight in the States, so on and so forth. No need to get into that. That's for another subject. With that said, right, we see now Tyson Fury, at one point in time, September 28th, I believe it was, he stated that the only guy he wanted to face was Deontay Wilder in the trilogy match. So don't ask him about facing Anthony Joshua until he closes the chapter and finishes this trilogy match with Deontay Wilder. And he stated that, when it came to Anthony Joshua or British heavyweight contender Dillian White or any other heavyweight for that matter, none of them stand a chance to beat Deontay Wilder, be successful against Deontay Wilder, or be victorious against Deontay Wilder, however you so choose to look at it. He stated that Deontay Wilder is still the second best heavyweight in the world, next to myself at number one. So he said, I got to beat Deontay Wilder in his trilogy before I even look at Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. Mind you, this was after Tyson Fury announced that he will be facing Anthony Joshua in a two-fight deal for Undisputed in 2021 in the UK. Okay? Putting the carriage before the horse. This meant, and this gave you insight and let you know that they didn't want to fight Deontay Wilder at all. They understand the risk they run facing Deontay Wilder in a trilogy match. The guy that has the highest knockout percentage in the history of the sport of boxing at 97%. You dare to get in the ring, even though you stopped them, and that's an asterisk by that because we understood what took place in that second fight, glove gate, so on and such, right? But the asterisk by it, but you got the stoppage victory. And in a trilogy match, you run the risk of getting knocked out. He has 97% knockout ratio. He's knocked out or knocked down every opponent he's ever faced, including Tyson Fury, dropping him twice, right? So do you want to run the risk and put everything that you have on the table and risk losing it all with Anthony Joshua in the UK Undisputed Showdown that's never took place on UK soil, that everybody's just salivating on, everybody's just drooling, they can't wait to get this fight with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua in the UK for Undisputed in the heavyweight division? Never happened before. We have UK Undisputed heavyweight champions. Obviously, you have the legendary, iconic heavyweight boxer Lennox Lewis, who was undisputed, obviously. But it never took place on UK soil. And so this is what they were striving for. And so I believe that all parties involved was looking to wiggle around and look for a way out of fighting this trilogy match with Deontay Wilder. And so they cooked up a story after the fight was Deontay Wilder informed them immediately within 48 hours of the rematch that took place that saw Tyson Fury get the stoppage victory. He informed them within 48 hours that he was going to indeed activate the rematch clause and push forward with the trilogy match immediately as soon as everything was squared away. Obviously, we was dealing with the pandemic and social distancing and things of that nature. And Deontay Wilder had tore his bicep. So you have 90 days from the day you inform them. You have a 90-day window. So the fight was scheduled for July. It was then pushed back from July to October 3rd. Obviously, due to pandemic, due to social distancing, due to there being not too many venues that's available, they were looking to use the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium, Reliant Stadium in Las Vegas, which is the Raiders' new stadium that was just recently built. They were looking for that, to use that stadium, but the Las Vegas Raiders owner stated that he was not going to allow any event to take place in that stadium before the Raiders do, with fans in attendance. So therefore, they weren't going to have enough revenue without the fans' live gate and closed circuits to be able to pay the purses for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury with such a high-profile fight, which saw them look for other avenues, right? Now, here's where the kicker comes in. You understand that Tyson Fury is indeed the A side. Tyson Fury calls the shots. He says, when, where, and how, because his network, ESPN, in which he co-fights on with Bob Arum, who Bob Arum has, his top-ranked company has a relationship with ESPN, he calls all the shots, right? So due to the Raiders and social distancing and all of these things taking place, there not being the purses, the revenues, the closed circuits, and the live gates to be able to pay the purses for this high-profile fight, they then asked for an extension. This is when Tyson Fury in September stated that because the fight was supposed to take place on October 3rd, that it had to be moved back. Tyson Fury let the world know he was only going to fight Deontay Wilder. Stop asking him about anybody else, okay? Then the fight was then reported to be pushed back to December 19th. With that said, Bob Arum was informed by ESPN, the network in which Tyson Fury fights on, that they're going to need an extension due to the fact that they didn't expect college football and the National Football League, the NFL, to push forward with their schedules and to continue to resume. And then you had the NBA restarting December 22nd also. So you have a lot going on. Then you have college basketball, NCAA basketball, resuming its play in December as well. They didn't want to compete with all of those four major sports. So ESPN, first priority is not boxing. It's the four major sports and the two semi-pros, right? You have the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL hockey, and then you have NCAA football, NCAA basketball. That it takes precedent over anything when you're dealing with Fox and ESPN. Those networks are sporting networks that rely on those four major sports. Boxing comes in at number 7 here in the States. So ESPN asked for an extension. Thus, you hear Bob Arum start to say that they are looking to make the fight now from December 19th and push it back to January, February, where all of these sports, well, the NFL and college basketball and, the NFL and college football will resume, they will have a conclusion to their seasons will be done by February. Both sports, college football and the NFL, will be done. They will conclude their season by February, so you don't have to worry about that. And on Saturday is not a big night for NBA basketball, so you don't have to worry about that. And you're able to, and college basketball is Saturday nights, but you don't have to worry about that either. So with that said, college basketball is usually a big Saturdays is the afternoon games. NBA more so on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Okay, so and Fridays, occasionally Fridays. So with that said, you don't have to worry about them interfering. So ESPN, not Deontay Wilder, not Al Heyman, not the PBC, and not Fox, they didn't ask for the extension. Tyson Fury's side asked for the extension. Tyson Fury, once he heard about Bob Arum's comments stating that they were looking to push the fight to February, Frank Warren and Tyson Fury said, absolutely not. It's non-negotiable. They have to fight in December. It's best for Tyson Fury's mental health, and it's best for Tyson Fury to stay active. And he has been training for a long period of time, preparing for the July fight, then the October date, then the December date. So they didn't want him to overtrain, but they wanted him to stay active for his mental health. So they stated that it was absolutely non-negotiable for them to move the fight from from December 19th until February. That was not going to happen according to Frank Warren and Tyson Fury. They then stated that Deontay Wilder's team didn't honor and inform them in time. They let the contract expire the October 15th date. That proved not to be true, as we see now that Deontay Wilder, 48 hours after the rematch, the second fight, he informed them that he was going to activate the trilogy match, and he was indeed going to honor it and fight Tyson Fury immediately in the trilogy match. With that said, they were looking to wiggle out and get out of the fight and look to face somebody else December 5th. Now Tyson Fury, why did I make mention of Martin Carefoot and the whole situation with UCAD, United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency? Because Tyson Fury denounced his license, which saw UCAD make a statement saying that they could not launch a fresh investigation because he's out of their jurisdiction if he fights in the United States. They can't cross those lines. Then Martin Carefoot then retracted and said that he wanted no more parts into this due to the fact that he was getting so much trouble and there was so much of a strain on him. He said he backed off. He didn't want no more parts of it, which opened the door for Tyson Fury now to resume and pick up his boxing license in the United Kingdom. And thus you see Tyson Fury start to say that he wanted to fight December 5th in the UK. A homecoming fight now. He announced that I'm coming home December 5th and I will be fighting. And they cited that there was nothing Deontay Wilder could do due to the fact that Deontay Wilder missed the date October 5th, which again, that wasn't true. Because now we know Deontay Wilder immediately 48 hours after the second fight let it be known and honored the contract and activated the trilogy match immediately. Thus, why they came up with a date. You wouldn't have a date in July. You wouldn't have had the October 3rd date, and you wouldn't have had the December 19th date if Deontay Wilder didn't immediately follow the rules in the contract and inform them that he wanted the immediate trilogy match. So he didn't have to wait until October 3rd, the October 15th, because they had 3 dates already in place that was moved back due to the pandemic social distancing, no venues, and ESPN, the network in which Tyson Fury is signed to and married to, they asked for the extension due to the fact that they didn't want to compete with the other major sports. Bob Arum then stated that when asked by myself, did Deontay Wilder not want the trilogy match? He says, yes, we all wanted the trilogy match except Tyson Fury and Frank Warren. And it's abundantly clear that Frank Warren and Tyson Fury were looking for any way to wiggle out the trilogy match because they don't want to run the risk of Tyson Fury getting knocked out by Deontay Wilder in the trilogy match and don't have that big major fight that they already committed to, two-fight deal with Anthony Joshua in 2021 when they put the carriage before the horse. So Tyson Fury went on and done an interview in which he stated that Deontay Wilder was allegedly slandering his name, dragging his name, so he was no longer going to give Deontay Wilder the time of day or the opportunity to regain his title or to fight him at all whatsoever. And he says that he was lucky he don't take him to court and sue him for 100 million pounds for dragging his name. Deontay Wilder, on my show, when I informed Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury's comments, he says Tyson Fury can take me to court. That's the plan anyway, because I'm going to take him to court. We're going to go to mediation because he's going to honor this trilogy match as he stated. So he stated to be a man of your word as I was and give me the trilogy match like we had in the contract, like I did you when I rectified your career. Tyson Fury was scheduled to announce his fight December 5th with an undefeated German fighter. But then once Deontay Wilder, then 24 hours after on my show, Deontay Wilder filed the case against Tyson Fury. And guess what? Tyson Fury then dropped the fight, the December 5th fight. He cited that it was partially due to the fact that Deontay Wilder took him to court and partially that there is no fans going to be allowed to attend these live sporting events in the UK. Well, on the contrary, now they're saying that you can have 1,000 fans in attendance in the UK as well. So that wasn't true either. And we understand now that, according to Frank Warren, that indeed Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury will be fighting in the spring. That's what they're feeling. He says he's hoping that it doesn't work out in Deontay Wilder's favor, but it looks like it's leaning towards that way. And they never wanted, he admits, they never wanted the Deontay Wilder trilogy match. They always wanted the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight after the second fight. So see, again, they put the carriage before the horse. They agreed to a trilogy match, a contract for a trilogy match, but in all intent to fight Anthony Joshua and not Deontay Wilder in a trilogy match. So this just goes to show that this had nothing to do with Deontay Wilder, as Tyson Fury was stating that he was tired of Deontay Wilder dragging his feet and not appearing and not working out and negotiating for the trilogy match. So they tried to place this on Deontay Wilder's doorstep, and that proved not to be true because now you're going to court, and if the courts favor and say that Deontay Wilder's in his rights to get the trilogy match, or Tyson Fury will pay a hefty price and lose his title, well, then that means he never missed the October 15th date or deadline, right? And it was due to actions outside of his hands, and actually it was due to Tyson Fury and his team asking for an extensions, as Tyson Fury tried to make it as Deontay Wilder was asking for extension because he wasn't healthy, he was injured, which wasn't true. And Deontay Wilder was already himself in training camp. And Bob Arum stated that Deontay Wilder never asked for an extension. Then Bob Arum went as far as to say after they informed them that they wanted the trilogy match and they didn't care when, where, and how the fight took place, that he hadn't even spoken to them, let alone them asking for an extension. The extension came on the part of ESPN. And Tyson Fury was looking to wiggle out this trilogy match because Tyson Fury doesn't believe that he'll be successful against Deontay Wilder, and he understands the risk and everything that's at stake with the Anthony Joshua fight seemingly going to go by the wayside. So now Frank Warren, interestingly enough, states that it's more than likely we're going to get this trilogy match. Yes, Frank Warren, we're going to get the trilogy match because it was always set for the trilogy match to take place. But again, they were looking to take it to the UK, get away from Deontay Wilder, hide from Deontay Wilder, place blame on Deontay Wilder, and act like it was Deontay Wilder all along. It was them, as Frank Warren stated, that they never wanted Deontay Wilder in a trilogy match. They've always wanted Anthony Joshua. Now he's saying that hopefully we can at least get one fight done with Anthony Joshua in 2021. Now it's being reported that Anthony Joshua, who's going to fight his mandatory challenger and once beaten Kubrat Pulev on December 12th, he's going to have to face his WBO mandatory challenger and undefeated former undisputed cruiserweight world champion turned heavyweight Alexander Usyk in 2021, because now Tyson Fury is going to indeed have to fight Deontay Wilder, thus pushing it back. And if Tyson Fury loses to Deontay Wilder, where does Anthony Joshua go then? Because now he would have fought Kubrat Pulev and Alexander Usyk. Now Deontay Wilder is the winner. Now undisputed goes through Deontay Wilder. Where does that put Anthony Joshua? And Tyson Fury lose the trilogy to Deontay Wilder, well, then he shouldn't want a fourth fight with Deontay Wilder, right? Because he said he wanted to close that chapter all the way around. So at that point in time, he loses to Deontay Wilder. Shouldn't he, at that point in time, just be pursuing Anthony Joshua? And Anthony Joshua will be pursuing him? They will all have one loss on their resume at that point in time, should Anthony Joshua be successful against Pulev and Alexander Usyk, right? It wouldn't matter, huh? But see, the undisputed, as they want to sell it on UK soil, goes by the wayside. And then the fans and the boxing media and pundits are going to wonder, why are you fighting Tyson Fury, who's coming off a loss to Deontay Wilder, opposed to fighting Deontay Wilder for undisputed match? So let's listen to what Frank Warren had to say. Everything, sometimes you should never put the carriage before the horse. And this is what they did by signing this deal with Anthony Joshua for a 2-fight deal and not knowing the outcome with Wilder in his trilogy match. See, when you try to do bad business and you try to go around people and you try to maneuver around what's right, this is what happens. So now Frank Warren is saying arbitration ruling may force Tyson Fury to fight Deontay Wilder in 2021, according to Frank Warren, right? He says hopefully Tyson Fury will win this fight and will fight and again in the first quarter of 2021, and we don't know yet if he will be against Wilder, but it's looking like it's leaning towards Deontay Wilder. Arbitration situation, we're still waiting on the outcome of that. He says, hopefully we can land the Anthony Joshua fight, or at least one, right? He says an arbitration judge will decide it. We say the rematch clause is at the end. Wilder says it can be extended. If the judges rule that Wilder is right, then that's what Fury has to do. They will give us a decision soon, but then he'll have to face Deontay Wilder, right? He says, the only thing I want from you is, this is what Deontay Wilder said, the only thing I want from Tyson Fury is to honor the agreement and fight the trilogy match, right? Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas was previously lined up to host Fury versus Wilder 3, but Fury had hoped to box on home soil next month, meaning December 5th, right? He says there were plans for Fury to fight an alternative opponent to Wilder at the Royal Albert Hall in London, England on December 5th, but that idea was abandoned early this week due to restrictions preventing spectators attending and because of Wilder's legal actions. Well, he knew, first of all, you could have 1,000 fans. There's restrictions, but you could have 1,000 fans, and if it wasn't about the fans and if it wasn't about the money, then why is he worrying about the restrictions, right? Why is he worrying about the money if he was just worrying about staying active for his mental health? Now it's due to the restrictions and due to there not being any money, right? And now they're talking about it would have had to start early hours of the morning in the UK. That wouldn't have worked. At the moment, I don't know where Tyson Fury will fight next. It's highly probable it would be in the States against Deontay Wilder. Of course it will, right? At some point next year, we want the Joshua fight. That's the first one we want to have. We don't want Wilder. We want Anthony Joshua fight. There you have it. So they let you know, Frank Warren is letting you know they didn't want Deontay Wilder to begin with from the jump. They've always wanted Anthony Joshua. That's the reason why they were trying their hardest to be able to find loopholes in the contract to be able to wiggle around fighting Deontay Wilder in this trilogy match. It had nothing to do with Deontay Wilder not wanting to fight and everything to do with them trying to wiggle around it. Now Anthony Joshua will have to fight Alexander Usyk, and now Tyson Fury is going to have to fight in the States against Deontay Wilder. So there you have it. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.